Let's explore what psychology can teach us about magic and the flow state. All right, so before I get started, let's just have a little bit of a sidebar. And this is a reminder that my first fantasy novel, Real Magic, comes out next week on January 23rd. It is already available for pre order as an ebook through Kindle, the Kindle Lending Library, stuff like that. But the paperback will be available as of January 23rd. I'm excited. Anyway, so we're going to get over to raising energy and the flow state. So relies heavily on psychology, and so we'll explore the flow state as a psychological concept and how that leads to being able to raise energy for spell work and magic. Yep, let's get started. So I have a little script thing, as always, or as most of the time. Anyway, energy for the purposes of magic can be raised in many different ways, although some types of magic call for specific forms of energy, such as certain physical actions or certain means of raising energy like meditation or whatever. The majority of magic can be powered by whatever the individual prefers, as long as it goes along allegorically with the spell. So let's say that you're trying to like in a banishing, or let's say kind of a curse or something like that. You want to have something that's got a little bit of anger in it. Let's go on. The purposes behind the raising of energy are twofold. One, the first is that the energy raised and contained within the ritual space is built up and directed toward the goal of the ritual. The second is that the act of raising energy can take the individual out of the mundane state of mind, like what we live in and what we function in, that we experience in everyday life, and enter a more free and receptive state of mind that psychologists call the flow state. The flow state is a state of consciousness where the practitioner can access the unconscious mind and the collective unconscious, according to Jung. In this state, energy flows directly from the deepest recesses of the universe through us and into our ritual space to be contained until it is released back through the universal unconscious and toward the goal. So you're tapping into that wellspring of magic energy and archetypes and true will and things like that when you're in the flow state. So the flow state occurs when with the majority of people when they are completely absorbed in an activity. So it's basically when you're doing something that you kind of lose yourself in, where you're not logically thinking about it step by step. Take a dancer, for example. The most complex dance routines are well planned and can be very complex when fleshed out, and can be difficult to learn as a step by step operation. Sure, each step will have to be learned in sequence and practiced to perfection, but when the time to perform the dance comes, the dancer is no longer in the logical mind thinking of where to move from one moment to the next. They let their body feel into the music and the movement. You know, it's the same thing as when you're learning a new song on an instrument, right? You have to think about what notes come next, where your fingers move on the instrument, and all that stuff. But when you learn how to do a song by heart, like when I do my ocarinas and stuff, I'm not thinking about, oh, I have to move my fingers over here. I know it by heart, so it just flows. Let's see. Anyone? Yep. So I actually just did this analogy right here. Yeah. So the flow state is where practitioners of magic want to find themselves in during ritual. As stated before, it is up to the individual to decide how to raise energy, and consideration should be put into how to raise that energy. If you are a person who likes to drum, dance, play music, sing, or whatever, um, in terms of raising your physical energy and your emotional state, then you can pick one of those as long as it's allegorically viable to your spell work as an energy source. The most important part in raising energy is entering the flow state through the activity you use to raise energy. So, how do we go from planning something to letting it be in the flow state? Practice, 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 practice. So, when you're going to do a ritual, right, you kind of set the state of mind of this is a rehearsal. It's like a practice swing in golf where you have your steps out in front of you and you go from one to the other until it feels like you don't have to be like, okay, I moved this over here, what do I do next? Or what was that? What am I supposed to say? What's the script I wrote down? You want to memorize all of it so that when you go into your ritual space or your temple or what have you to do your spell work, it's one after the other and you don't have to ask yourself what's next. Or when you are going to do the energy raising activity, you're not thinking at all about what just happened, what's the next step. You're completely absorbed in the activity. So this one is a rather short one-ish because it's kind of simple and to the point. When you are in a ritual space doing doing spell work, you don't want to be thinking in a logical mind. You want to be in the flow state. So as you are performing those actions, you are meditatively open and receptively open to what's going on rather than just I want to get this done because I don't like what's happening. So if I do these 5 steps, which I have on the little script thing right here, then everything's going to be fine. See, that's too logical. That's too mundane. That's too step by step. And magic does not function very well just relying on that step by step logical methodology. It needs to have that level of losing it in the moment. Let me know what you guys think about this. You can always talk in the comments or on my Magickology YT Facebook group or the Facebook page too. And when you guys are in ritual, what gets you into the flow state? That's a good question. So what activities do you guys use, or what is your go-to for raising energy? So let's share down below, and on the Facebook group and such. You guys can find all of my books, especially Real Magic, that is available for pre-order through the link down below, and info to all of my other social media links and stuff at the title card at the end of this video. So get into that flow state and make magic happen. Good hunting. Thanks for watching my video. So if you want to check out my playlists, I have, among others, the Simon Necronomicon, the Tree of Life, General Magic, Tulpamancy, a playlist on my books, the elements, stones, the theories that govern magic, and the gods and goddesses of Mesopotamia. If you want to check out my books on Amazon, I have Creating Consciousness, Magical Mechanics, Magical Theater, Handy Sigil Magic, Magical Movement, which is an update and expansion upon Handy Sigil Magic, Magical Mastery, which is a combination masterwork of Magical Theater and Magical Mechanics, and The Guide to the Spheres and Beyond. You can also find me on Facebook at Magickology YT. You can email me at priestofthenecro@gmail.com, and you can even check out my Instagram, which is Magickology. And good hunting.